Oh, shiz.
Aki. Dog drama. There's a cat in here, so dogs are freaked out.
Where is he?
What?
Doesn't care.
Oliver. He really doesn't. Like, look at this little face. Look at his little face. He's so sweet.
Oh,
So sweet.
can
And
we just
he has
put
panda
the camera on him the whole time?
Yeah,
Not even talk.
he has panda paws.
Oh, and he's not struggling.
No, he just like doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Now he's getting a little pissed, but whatever. I think he's really sleepy right now. He's been running around.
I've never had a cat that didn't care.
We haven't either. Jason, well, now he's playing with my monitor, but Jason and I both, we've never had a cat that was like this sweet, I guess.
I think it's boys.
It is. I have had a lot of boy kittens, but they were a lot more rambunctious than he is. Like, he's really not.
Oh my god.
Hi.
Oh,
Nice.
Mine's right here. Why am I not wearing this?
I could go put my jacket on.
Just gonna ask.
Well,
I know
these
where
are
my jacket
hoodies.
is.
These are hoodies.
Oh, well, I don't have a hoodie. I'm not fancy. I'll just wear my comm badge that's still in the thing.
Mine's bigger.
Where am I? Is it on the right side? Wait.
Yeah, you gotta.
Yeah. It's gonna pull on my shirt, but Oliver, be good.
Okay, we're ready.
Ready.
I don't have my insignia.
That's okay. That just means station security can't track you. That's all it takes. Just like, you'll never know.
You'll never know. Computer, locate Lieutenant Commander Bruno.
All right, so welcome back to Sci-Fi Book Club. Our host, Snizurf, is not here today. He will not be joining us. But I do have comments. We went over discussion questions earlier, and I do have his responses. So we have his input on the book. We're going over the final installment of Voyager Pathways. So, also interestingly, I'd like to mention that we renamed our book club Set Phasers to Read,
Yay!
effective last few weeks ago. So that's our book club from now on.
Yay!
Periodically, I may get a little weird because the dogs are chasing the cat around the office. Okay. First question is, whose story is your favorite now that we've heard all of them? And who did you learn the most about, or which story had the greatest impact on how you perceive a character?
Both questions, Tom Paris by a mile.
Yeah?
Yes. I think I might be in the minority on this because Lena, was it you who didn't like Tom Paris?
Yeah.
Jason and I both don't, but
Okay.
that's pretty...
I think Lena has stronger feelings
I
towards
have really strong feelings about his emo past.
Well, yeah,
His
The
emo
emo past-
teenager past.
Zero Past is what I liked. It was to me a good framing device for the whole sort of rebel, careless, reckless character that he typically was. Just his whole arrogance. To me, it framed it more like a defense mechanism or a way of coping than just oh, this dude's an asshole.
Yeah.
I just felt that gave a lot of depth to the character. Not that the character didn't have depth before, but I don't know. I just liked having whenever I was watching the show, I had sort of a vision of him just growing up admiral's son, never any consequences. That's why he grew up arrogant, and he just got in trouble to get the attention of dad. But I don't know, the tragic backstory gave another element to it. So that's
that one shocks me the most. That was the most standout backstory.
Yeah.
I think I liked Tuvok's the best though. Just
Oh man,
because
Tuvok.
of journey or whatever.
Oof, yeah.
It was crazy, and you learn a lot about him. 'Cause obviously, we don't know jack about Tuvok.
I enjoyed his story a lot because I enjoy his relationship with Janeway a lot. Like throughout
Yeah.
the series and like the finale and stuff, like I really enjoyed their back and forth kind of relationship. But
Mhm.
yeah. I was gonna say about Tom Paris, one of the things that I did like about his story was that it kind of explained the Admiral's character a little bit more. Because you know, like in the series, you start to see these interactions with the Admiral, later, where he's like really worried about his son, and all you ever know about Tom is that he's like doesn't like his dad,
Yeah.
basically, and you don't know why. Like you don't know what happened, and it makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying. I always felt like it was a rich kid resentment. Like, you were never
Yeah.
there for me. You missed
Yeah.
my hoverball game or whatever the hell. But yeah, it actually added some meat to why there was tension in that relationship. It wasn't a spoiled kid hating his father. It added a little something extra, which that's what I like. But yeah, Tuvok's did add way more in terms of like what. So if you look at what we just didn't have with Tuvok throughout the series, because you don't hear a lot. There was his Ponfar episode.
Mhm.
Oh
We
wow,
sort of
yeah.
got a glimpse into his
The
his
Tuvix
family.
episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that was one of his meteor character moments as far as his past and his life. So I felt like this filled in way more holes than any other story.
Yeah.
But I still like Tom Paris is the best.
Jason says Neelix is still his favorite. He just really likes him as a character and liked learning more about him and his culture. Okay.
I did like Neelix's. Neelix showed me.
What are you doing to me? Oh my god. My head. Okay.
Neelix's story showed me a side of the character that I wish we'd have seen more of in the show.
Yes.
But yeah, I liked his a lot for that reason because I wish we would have seen more scoundrelly stuff from him in the show, which you saw glimpses of it, but just not as much as I would have liked.
Yeah, it was heavily implied. And it was a lot of like him painting himself as that way and us not knowing why. So Neelix is probably I still rank that probably number 1. Tuvok's number 2. Oh. Am I still here?
No, you're gone.
I think the cat did something.
Oh, good.
Hold on. Am I back?
Nope.
Are you a static image of Jason's face?
Stop. I think he just chewed through my wire.
Are you
Again?
serious?
Oh my god.
You already did that to Jason's mouse.
And a headset, right?
And a headset?
Yeah, Rhiannon's.
Really?
That's what Lena was saying.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, like she has some kind of noise-canceling headset at work, and apparently the cat, when Jason brought the cat to work, just like chewed right through it.
Are you serious?
That's what she
Yeah.
said.
Yeah,
Did he really
totally,
just chew through your webcam?
that totally happened.
Oh man.
How did you do that? He was just in your lap.
I don't know.
Works quick.
What about now?
No.
Nope.
Oh no!
Wait, you just smashing the wires together?
Yeah, what are you doing?
No, I plugged it. It's making the noise when I unplug it and plug it back in.
You might. Here, hold on. When you move your mouse, go to the little settings thing. And then under the webcam at the top, make sure your webcam's selected. And not something else.
Oh my god. Aki. Sorry guys, technical difficulties.
Do you see that in settings?
Hold on. Let me plug it back in. I have Jason's webcam I could plug in, but let me try.
Don't rush her.
No, it doesn't detect the camera. I think he totally chewed through it.
You should plug in the other camera, I guess.
Yeah. Not a big deal.
Can you not tell that he chewed through it?
Not really. Like there's little bite marks, but it doesn't look like he broke through the
Wow.
That's weird.
Little shit.
Yeah, he's breaking everything so you'll pay attention to him. Hey, with me?
Am I back?
Yes.
Okay. Crappier camera, but it'll work. Whatever. Okay, so what were we talking about? Favorite characters, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy animals. Actually, while I'm thinking about it,
You gonna kick him out?
I already did that, but I'm shutting the door. Okay.
Now you can shoot all the wires throughout the house.
So I think I was saying, yeah, exactly.
If the lights flicker and you hear a screech, we'll understand if you have to leave.
Oh my gosh. So Neelix is still my favorite. Tuvok was probably second, and surprisingly third was Kess. Here's why. I have reasons. Mainly because her story surprised me a lot. I didn't invest very much in her, like, as a character in the show. Like, I just didn't care, and I didn't understand why she was there. You know, like all the other crew members like have like kind of a common element and something that like keeps them going and productive, and I just like didn't get it.
Yeah.
But after hearing Kess's story, it kind of like reinforced that all of these people are like rebels in some way, like in their own way. Like they have come up against something in their lives that they had to overcome, and they bring that to the Voyager, basically. And Kess's story surprised me because she was like a little rebel in her little hometown. She was
like Wally.
making waves.
Anyone notice she was basically Wally?
Basically, but some of her, like some of my favorite quotes, like we'll talk about quotes later, but some of my favorite quotes were from her section because it was really like, I'm really sensitive on the subject of, well, why do we do it this way? Well, that's the way it's always been done.
Mm-hmm.
She challenged that, like she brought that question to light, so I just really enjoyed that part.
I heard that whole part as wah, 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 wah. Oh, okay, I guess I'll finally do something about it.
Well, I mean, that's how I feel about Tom, so I can understand that. I can totally understand that.
I did enjoy Kess going up against the elders. That was nice.
Yeah.
Because before, in the show, her backstory was always, you know, she had a similar like, oh, why don't we go up there? And it was always, you know, with her father, or you know, it wasn't ever in the context of society. But I did like that, how she was challenging her societal establishment, not necessarily just like, you know, Dad says no, so I'm gonna make Dad mad.
Yeah, and I think like when I read her story, it started to click that that's kind of what all the stories were about. So they were talking about, you know, their past and where they had come from, but all of them had this like common thread of facing adversity, having to overcome it, you know, against all odds, and, you know, coming out the other side with this like, I don't know, this like bravery. Like I wrote down something that I was gonna say. I feel like maybe if I read books about the other series, I would get this feeling too. But after reading this book, I really feel like the Voyager crew has this like thing that holds them together, and this like driving force in each of them that it like goes beyond Starfleet and like what's expected of them from Starfleet. It's like what they expect of them as people, and that like really came across in the book. So I guess that's why I like Kess's story, because I was like, oh yeah, I totally was that little girl that was like, why? Tell me why. I want to know why. You know, and I don't know. I thought it was really cool. I told Jason that if Star Trek series or characters were in Harry Potter, that all of these people would be Gryffindors. And he laughed really hard. I was like, he thinks that some of them would be Ravenclaws, though. He thinks that Tuvok would be a Ravenclaw.
Harry Kim would be a Hufflepuff.
That's what Jason said.
Ah!
I was like, no, he has his redeeming qualities.
Sure he does, but you know, there's nothing wrong with
funny.
Hufflepuff. I realize Hufflepuff didn't get screen time, But you know what? Cedric Diggory was Hufflepuff, and he was all right.
That is so funny that you said that. That's exactly what he said. Anyway, so in a roundabout way, that leads to our next question. Even though we didn't hear a long backstory about Janeway, do you feel like you learned more about her?
No.
Not even a little bit, because I feel like I learned a little bit about her.
I feel like I know just as much as I did.
Yeah, that's
true.
Which is a fair amount.
I feel like I got reinforced her relationship with each of these people.
It was nice hearing about her introduction with each of them, but
Yeah.
I felt like everything that happened in the book was very in keeping with what we know about her character. There wasn't a whole lot of new information for me.
Yeah.
It was entertaining in Tuvok's section to read.
Oh yeah, that was the most we got out of each backstory with her in it. Yeah.
Yeah, like how she was just like this starry-eyed explorer, scientist type.
Totally.
Which is nice, but that's in keeping with what we already know about her.
Yeah.
You know, every time there's a scientific thing, she wants to go check it out. She wants to go see if there's coffee in the nebula.
Yeah.
But it was interesting to at least read a couple pages of her sort of in the relative safety of a Starfleet Alpha Quadrant environment, just being like, yeah, we're all gonna go do that. Where in Voyager in the show, she may have hesitated a little bit. She was a little more restrained because she's got more responsibility. Yeah, I would have liked to have heard a little bit more about Janeway, maybe on her way up through command, but that's not what the story was about, so I understand why it didn't happen that way. But yeah, everything we learned was in keeping with what I already know about her.
Yeah, I don't know this for sure, but I do know at least that this book was developed for the writers. Like, it was written for the writers, so they would be able to meld all of these backstories. Not necessarily meld them together, but like build the characters off these backstories. So I think, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Screw you. So I think since we learned a lot about Janeway in the series, they already knew they were going to bring all those things out in her and talk about those things about her.
What?
Never mind.
What's happening?
I didn't know that it was written for the writers. Like,
yeah.
That makes so much sense, because it really, like, the whole time I kept thinking, wow, the TV series picks up right where this leaves off.
Yeah.
You know? And I was like, oh man, they really picked up this character's story, like, right there.
That's the reason it's almost, it's basically, okay, it was the only official lore or whatever for Voyager, but then it actually negated itself in later seasons. But I still mentally take it as like truth, you know what I mean? But some people, it's disputed, you know.
Jason was with you guys, like, he felt like we learned some, but he wants to know more, and he said that he's wondering if her story was kind of left out intentionally because it wouldn't have fit. Like, maybe her defining moment in her life happens on Voyager that makes her who she is. Like,
that's a good point.
He was talking about getting them lost in, you know, getting her whole crew lost and not able to go home. Maybe that was her defining moment, you know, that made her kind of like, I don't know, have to overcome it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting, but I don't know. And I said, I still want to know why she ticks the way she does. Like, I still feel like unresolved in that way. So this definitely was not a book to learn more about Janeway, if that's what anyone's interested in. I mean, it did give us some more examples of her just having giant balls.
Yeah.
I mean, walking into that camp. You know,
I love imagining that.
Jesus.
Like, all dressed up like a crazy woman.
And slapping Cote, like, I don't know.
I knew there was a nanotech payload in that bridge.
You did.
I
You called
knew
it. You totally called it. So true. Did y'all have any favorite quotes? Did y'all earmark anything, or
Yeah, I did.
I can read you Jason's.
While she's looking, what's Jason's? Oh wait.
I can't believe he's gonna make me read this. It was the most electrifying event of his life. Everything coalesced into that one moment, the brilliantly turbulent sunset, darkening now into slashes of purple, the proud, clear voice raised in defiant song, and the something Cardassia had inflicted on each of them. Anguish. Lightning flashed between them, igniting some deeply smoldering eroticism into raging, heedless lust.
What is this about Seska and...
Yes.
Oh.
His second favorite was, how'd you get legs like that, Bruno? Is funny.
I wish.
So funny.
Lots of squats.
I'm only really referring to the chapters we read recently. I just had one, and it was for Tuvok, so I thought it was really funny. He says, "I can no longer live among humans. They hasten the heat death of the universe."
I did think that whole thing was good.
Yeah, that's how I felt today. I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Yeah.
One of my favorite quotes was actually from Janeway in the in Tuvok's story.
What did she say?
The quote says, "A change came over her, a twinge of concern. I listen to everything you say, and I follow all your admonitions." There was a brief hesitation before she continued, with a bit of lilt in her voice. "I just don't always let you know it."
Yeah, and then the little, Janeway smirk.
Yeah. I really like that because I think I have that relationship with some people. I'm sure there's people that think I don't listen to them, and I do. I just don't always tell them that I'm listening.
Yeah. And that smirk, did you see that Kate Mulgrew made that face at the Emmys? While she's wearing that, hot dress?
Dude, she looks so good.
Yeah, she looked real good.
I still would.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had a couple more. Oh, I had some from Kess. How to get to be our way of life. Who said it should be? And then her dad says, no one said anything. It's just always been that way. I like that quote.
Having read String Theory was actually really helpful in that part. Have you read String Theory, Lena?
Isn't this your first Voyager book?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
He's referring to a Voyager book. This is a 3-part series.
Yeah, it revolves heavily around the Okampa and how their planet got the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to tell you what happens because if you happen to read it one day, I don't want to be the one who ruins it. But yeah, having read that gave me a lot of actual feelings for that. It's it wasn't always like that.
Yeah.
You guys used to be kind of awesome.
I know these things. Yeah, that's a good series. It's really long, but it's also really good.
It does drag in places, but overall,
it's worth it.
It's a good read.
Especially if you just developed a love for Kess's backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still am not crazy about Kess, but she was cool.
This might make you like her more, actually.
I might check it out
more.
then. I might check it out then because I'm really enjoying getting to know where they came from. I think that's
and
interesting.
The Doctor too.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned the Doctor, there's one thing I wanted to bring up that I'm sure is not in a question. I had a ridiculously crazy theory about the ring and the nanotech slap. I thought, since we hadn't seen him in the story really
the Doctor was part of it?
Yes. I thought the ring slap was nanotech, but it was carrying the Doctor's program and he was going to be talking to them and relaying a plan.
Oh my god, that would have been so good.
That would be pretty cool.
I thought it would have been a fun way to incorporate the Doctor and just have his head inside Chakotay's brain.
Well, I felt like the story that connected the whole thing, the vessel for having them tell stories to each other, their backgrounds, was pretty lame.
It was what
Yeah.
it needed to be.
It was
I mean,
weak. I
they
mean,
didn't-
Pretty weak. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then, boom, backstory, you know?
Yeah, I wasn't too heavily invested in the framing device because that's all it was.
I kept hoping for it to get better, but it really, I mean, the Janeway part where she's like, "Moo!" is the best part to me. And then maybe when Harry's foot gets all screwed up, that was like, oh,
I did like that.
it was such a Harry Kim moment.
right?
I was just like, oh man, like,
Oh, can't
here we
imagine.
go. We're gonna have to drag him through the forest. Like, oh my god. Yeah, I don't know.
I like the framing device, I think, more than you did, but The Great Escape is one of my favorite movies, so I'm a little upset.
Okay.
I don't know.
Um,
It wasn't very well fleshed out. It was just.
That would have been super cool if they did the Doctor thing now. I would have loved that.
It was one of those ridiculously.
Whoa.
Ridiculously.
That's a new word.
I hear myself
Oh,
in here because I'm going through your mic,
oh.
so it's
I don't-
difficult to maintain. Like,
What's that called again?
there's a word for that, but I don't know what it is.
Anyway.
Yeah.
echolocation.
But I don't know. I thought it would have been a cool way to incorporate the Doctor, and I think having like his personality, his like interior monologue in Chakotay's brain would have been kind of funny because they're not really similar characters at all. I thought it would have been interesting. But
There's an abridged audiobook version of this, now heavily abridged, but it is narrated by Robert Picardo.
that's cool.
That would be a nice follow-up.
So, I do own it because I thought it was the full book.
Um,
So if anybody wants to borrow, you're more than welcome. But I listened to like the first chapter to see how similar it was, and it was pretty entertaining because he's like a classically trained actor.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
He was one of my favorite actors in the entire series. Like,
Oh, yeah, easily.
I wanted so much more from his character, even though he was one of the best developed characters in the
I was about
series.
to say, he had a really good development.
He had one of the best arcs. Just, man, I just loved his character so much. I was so bummed out that episode. There were a couple, but there was one episode where he was in love with Seven.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out at the end. And I think
Yeah.
the episode concludes with him on the piano singing "Someone to Watch Over Me."
Shit.
That was so sad.
So sad.
I
Yeah,
wanted
there
to
were-
cry.
I'm pretty sure that there were tears that season because I remember being really affected by that storyline. I was just like, this is just tragic. He's invested all this time and emotion in her, and he shouldn't even have emotion. I don't know. It was just like especially tragic.
Aw,
Yeah, for all the flack Voyager gets, it did have some poignant moments.
really did.
Oh, for sure. Let's see. I had one other favorite quote, but I'll mention it later. So, I mean, we kind of already started to talk about this, but give me your favorite parts of the book and the parts that you absolutely hated, or like things about the book you didn't like.
Kess was in it. Just kidding.
Ooh, you're not gonna like Jason's answer then.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't hate her that much, especially now that I've read String Theory and this and whatever. It helps, but just her vanilla on the show.
No,
is just
seriously,
like,
her
shut up.
her in the series, like I just couldn't stand her.
Yeah.
Like I was relieved when she left. That's how
Yeah.
much I couldn't stand her character. So it was kind of a pleasant surprise to get to know her in this. I'll just give you Jason's. He said that Kess's rebellion and escape was his favorite part.
His favorite?
He thought it really showed that she wasn't just some random extra in the show, and that she had guts and did interesting things before she suddenly, out of nowhere, became a god and left Voyager.
Yeah.
And he said, this book made me go back to my dislike of Tom Paris, but that's not something I disliked about the book. I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised, as this was the first Star Trek book that he's ever read.
Oh.
And he thought that it was really good overall. So that's what he thought. My favorite part was when Janeway and Tuvok got like accosted by the pterodactyl.
Yeah, that was pretty great.
And they're like in that little cave, and he's coming to terms with like his distaste for her, and
Mhm.
she's like, I don't care, you're staying with me.
Yeah.
Basically. And I also wrote down that even in retrospect, I'm now amused and enjoy the whole Tom Paris thing. Like, I find it funny now. Like his emo needing to go ski thing. Like, I think it's
I gotta go ski.
I just gotta
You
go
know,
ski.
as over the top as that whole thing is, like I need to ski. That is an identifiable thing because
Oh,
we've
yeah.
all got a thing we like retreat
Oh,
into
yeah.
when people are just like, because people are a bunch of bastards.
Well, yeah,
So-
and you don't
Totally.
have to do like as a teen. You don't want to do what your parents want you to do,
Sure.
and you don't necessarily love what you're really good at. Because he was good at Parisi Squares, and he did not want to be on that team.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, my family and these expectations. So yeah, it was super relatable.
Yeah, I mean, I wish it would have been a little more subtle, like you say, because like Lena, you say it was, very emo teen kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, But
I think
while moments of
story
it
had
may have,
that.
what?
I think each story had that emo teen thing going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. While I think moments of it may have been a little too overstated, over exaggerated, I felt, the feeling of it was still good.
Yeah, I agree. And that's my only, honestly, that right there is my only criticism of the book, is that at times I felt like things were overstated. Like, they said what they were going to say, and it was great. Love Jeri Taylor, but so many adverbs and adjectives. Like, whoa. I didn't need 3 extra sentences with descriptive words, I guess.
You shouldn't read George R. R. Martin.
No,
though.
you really shouldn't.
I have not, for that reason. I've been
Yeah.
told.
He likes to actually set the scene and be as descriptive as he can about
You will have
what's happening.
Yeah,
10
it's
consecutive pages describing a meal.
Yeah.
it's difficult for me too
Very.
because well, it's like I want to enjoy the book, but I find myself like I can pick out those sections, so I skip over them.
It sounds like you just want to read a script.
Yeah, basically. Let's do scripts.
Scripts instead of
Let's do a
books.
script club.
I don't need to see what it looks like.
I don't need
I
it.
just want to hear it.
No, I do like description, but like whenever dialogue is interrupted by description, I feel weird about that. I don't know.
Stop. What is wrong with you?
What?
Oh my God.
So Brittany, what was your favorite part and what did you hate?
I don't know. Stop.
Trying
Good
to listen.
God.
God.
I really just liked the whole thing because I didn't know what I was getting into whenever I read it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, this is the only sort of official Star Trek Voyager book. That's really cool. I'm gonna read it. Oh my God, this tells me so much, about so many characters. I was just like a kid in a candy store. I could not put it down. So, I mean, the whole thing is my favorite part, getting to know about everybody, regardless whether I thought they were initially boring characters or I hated them or I loved them or whatever. That was just so great. As far as disliking, I didn't like the story that made it all come together,
Yeah.
Their whole randomly being captured and then getting out thing. I think it could have been a lot more well done. And yeah, it did serve its purpose, but it just could have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I felt like it was one of those episodes that I'd call a monster episode or like an alien episode where it was just like they needed filler in the series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Monster of the Week episode.
Yeah, it was a little like, oh, where are they getting captured this week? Like, oh. So Austin, you love Tom Paris's part.
I do. That's my regular standard answer. And let me give you a little more reasoning as to why I like Tom Paris. I like Tom Paris for the same reason I like Indiana Jones, Flash Gordon, just like retro vintage adventure types. It's just entertaining to me.
He's definitely that dude.
Yeah,
Yep.
like that's why I loved Captain Proton.
Oh man, those were
Like,
like the best episodes.
right?
Those were so good.
Like 9 times out of 10, the holodeck episodes are there for filler. You know,
Yeah.
it's just like
Love them.
let's do a one-off, make the holodeck go crazy. And actually, weirdly enough, the 2 holodeck things that I really enjoy are in Voyager. There's Captain Proton, which is great, and
Sherlock Holmes?
no, I didn't hate the Sherlock
I
Holmes and
loved
Next Gen, but my second favorite is the World War II Hirogen one. When the Hirogen
that
take
one's
over.
good.
Yeah, Lena, have you finished Voyager?
Yeah, I've finished it, but I'm trying to remember which one that is.
The Hirogen take over the ship, and they start converting the ship into one big ass holodeck,
Mm-hmm.
and they're running a World War II program. I think it's a 2-part episode. They're running a World War II program. They cast the Voyager people as resistance and like American soldiers, but they somehow mess with their brains so they don't know that they're not holodeck characters. So
they're dying over and over.
yeah,
and over
like
again.
they get killed, they get shot, and the Hirogen haul them to the doctor. And it's like, yeah, fix them up. We got to put them back in. And the doctor's just like, fuck
Okay.
you guys.
This
But he
is
does
ringing.
it because he has to.
Yeah.
That's ringing some bells.
It's one of my favorite holodeck things
Really
ever.
good.
And like,
I may need to go back and watch those.
go back and watch like those specific.
Yeah, my memory's vague. You said something interesting about Tom Paris though that I would like to add because I know that it seems like I just blindly hate him. But
what? Like,
it's
no hate is unjustified. You can hate anyone you want, but I would love to hear the reasons.
no, I know I really don't hate anyone, not on Voyager at all. But I remember that I said in the last video, I think, or maybe it's the first one, that there's like a marked point in the series where it's like, okay, Tom Paris, you're a person now. Like, there was a point, and I don't remember the exact point, where I like actually really started to like his character because he became really complex, and it may have had to do with his relationship with B'Elanna, but he became like less of a dude bro and more of like I have like complex things going on with me type character.
Yeah.
And so it's really like early Voyager Tom Paris that I'm just like not crazy about.
Oh. So you like when he's trying to like figure B'Elanna out, like make her happy when she's really upset about whatever it is she was upset about that one time.
That and like he's trying to figure himself out too. Like during that whole time, like he's just like growing up, I guess. So like I really like grown up Tom Paris. Like by the time you get to Captain Proton stuff, he's pretty already much there.
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly when Tom Paris grabbed me. I just Googled it over here to know the episode name. This is one of the big moments where I really like fell in love with Tom Paris the first time watching Voyager. Was the episode 30 Days, where it starts off with him in the brig and he's composing a video letter to his dad, saying, "Hey Dad, I'm in jail again," and it's basically him telling the story. It's whenever there's this like water world. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I remember this one.
Yeah, like where he disobeys direct orders to go down and destroy this oxygen mining. Like, like he tries to like save this planet from this water loss, from this oxygen mining issue. I can't remember the exact plot, but that was one of the times where he like was just like, yeah, Prime Directive and these orders are wrong. So
yeah, he reminds me a lot of Kirk. Like he reminds me a lot of Captain Kirk in that way. Like he just I don't care. I'm gonna do this. He does before he thinks, I guess.
Yeah, that was one of the times when I actually fell in love with the character. And when this series was first going on, I mean, I was like intermediate, maybe junior high age.
Yeah.
So I was looking through it through that lens. But that's one of the earlier times when I was just like, yeah, Tom Paris, it's my guy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So.
That's a good episode, man. Now I just want to watch the series like all over again with all this knowledge.
It's funny. I want to mention that. You know how we didn't have internet when we moved here?
Yeah.
for a while. We just watched Voyager. He has season 1, and we just watched Voyager like every day after work and stuff. And it's super strange. Like, all of this is in there. Like, it's referenced. It's everywhere. So it's crazy to go back and rewatch it. It's awesome. Because you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that. I know what she's talking about, you know?
Yeah. Well, that was actually
pretty cool.
That was one of my questions was, do you think that you'll go back and rewatch it?
Oh,
I know that we've all seen the whole thing.
Yeah.
In the movies and what, or the movie, I guess, that wraps it up. But I definitely intend to, because I don't know. I just feel like there's so much that I will not take for granted, I guess, when I watch it next.
Star Trek is the only thing I'll watch over and over again.
Oh, yeah, me too.
I will not rewatch stuff unless I haven't seen it for like 7 years. You know, I'm just like, no, I already saw that. I remember what happens mostly. But this I can watch over and over and over and be so happy afterward.
Next Gen is really one of those that, like, I can watch an episode 3 times in a row, over and over again, and I get something different every time.
Yeah.
It's
in such a good mood.
It's very much like that. I guess.
Oh, I think more than any of the other series, Voyager benefits from a second look more than any of the others. Like, Voyager has its holes.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, like, one of the things I liked about this book was you got more backstory on Chakotay and Tuvok, which I feel those are 2 characters who are painfully underutilized in the show. Not like as far as day-to-day stuff on Voyager, but as far as backstory, as far as motivation. Like one episode, this is rabbit trailing, I'm sorry, but one episode that bothered me so much was the episode where there was this alien who comes aboard as this woman. And she says she knows Chakotay. She knows them all.
I remember that.
You do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts talking to Chakotay and telling him, yeah, we fell in love.
Mm-hmm.
No one remembers her though, because that's what her alien race does. They erase memories and erase computer records. No one knows who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And she does, throughout the whole episode, she does such a great job of making him fall in love with her again. Like, from a character standpoint, from an actress standpoint, she did a great job. She was, you could understand why Chakotay would have fallen in love with her, you know, because she was great. But then at the end of the episode, you know, the aliens from her government show up and they erase her mind, and she says, "You have to make me remember. Like, you have to do the same thing. You have to show me." But at the end of the episode, you get this. He walks into the room, and she's like, Why would I come back here? It's because you fell in love with me. It's just, you fell in love with me.
The wooden man.
And it's like, that's the thing. I just feel like
yeah,
that would have been a really great character moment if he would at least had, God, give him a 30-second monologue to put some real heart into it and actually make a case.
Yeah.
And at the end of that monologue, it's like at the end of that monologue, maybe she's tearing up a little bit. She doesn't even know why. You know, she's just, you know, I'm sorry, I don't know you. And maybe it's a really powerful, sad moment. Just the only reason that moment is sad is because we saw her interacting with Chakotay in the way that she did. We're not sad because Chakotay tried his hardest.
Yeah.
We're sad because we saw how much she loved him.
Yeah.
And just, I feel like there were moments like that throughout the whole series where they could have given so many meaty, really interesting character moments to some characters and just didn't.
That's a really great point.
Yeah, that is a really good point.
That one episode bothered the hell out of me. Like, as a 6th grader, I think I was in 6th grade, maybe 7th grade, I was watching that episode just like, try harder!
Really?
God!
Oh, that's so funny.
It bothered me, man.
Yeah.
There were a lot of moments too, because I just watched the series over the last couple years, I guess. It took us quite a while to finish it. So, like, I didn't watch it when it was originally on TV. And so I watched it as an adult, you know, with my current brain. And there were a lot of moments where I was just like, really? Like, that's not how adults are? Like, or that's not how...
in my kid brain.
I was like, that's not how humans are. Like, really? That's how you're reacting? I don't know. So, yeah, I'm right there with you.
I watched it intermittently when I was younger, like very little probably, and then more and more as I got older because it would be on. There would be reruns.
We won
on television, and it wasn't until whenever it came on Netflix. So like 3 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
More than that.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 years ago.
No, we were together, so it had to be 3 or less.
Are you sure it was this current time?
What do you mean? Yeah.
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 Because I
We've been
remember
together a really
ordering
long time.
season 1 of Voyager. I thought I ordered that when I was living with Ryan and Ben.
No, this is on Netflix.
Yeah, that's why I stopped ordering them, because they put it on Netflix.
Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, it was a while back. But I was adult too, and I don't think I had the same reaction. I think I was just like, Janeway, the whole time. Just like, yeah, you're my hero.
I'm telling you, from the moment where she went on a spirit quest.
I hate that one.
Oh, man. No, from the moment she discovered her spirit animal, or her spirit guide, I was just sold. I was like, Janeway, you're amazing. Anyway, so one of the last questions, okay, well, I'll read the question, then I'll read you what Jason said because it's hilarious. But what are your thoughts on the resolution of the conflict in the plot? And Jason said, the resolution seemed to have a super strong, a wizard did it trope vibe to me. But let's be honest, almost all Trek conclusions are like that.
Somehow.
You know the main characters probably won't die, and you know it's probably going to be bittersweet. So all in all, he enjoyed it because it seemed like an extended episode of the show.
You know, I will say, as self-serving as this is going to sound, I am sad my prediction of the gay guys, like one of them, I'm sad one of them didn't die. Because that would have been so
You put so
bad.
much emphasis. You were like, oh, they have a different sexual orientation.
Seriously.
There must be a whole plot for this.
I could have sworn. It's like that original series episode I referenced in the last meeting. It's just like, you don't highlight a nothing character unless you're going to do something sad.
I don't think you highlighted them. I think you're just not used to hearing about a homosexual couple in a story.
No, that's not. I don't think that's what it is at all. Just they made a whole subplot about. I was like, oh, he's gonna go with him. I mean,
they mentioned it in a paragraph.
Yeah, I know. Just they gave
that was the whole subplot.
They gave those two characters more acknowledgement than any other besides the core characters.
Or did you just notice the other characters, like maybe Cordis?
Chorus, yeah.
Wait, the little girl that Harry Kim liked?
Yeah, I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say about
she annoyed the shit out of me.
Oh, I have a lot to say about her.
What do you have to say?
The Voyager crew, I mean, they only talked about the regular core members. The only one who wasn't a regular main character was Vorik. Mm-hmm. And he's even been in a few episodes. He's a character that we know. And I feel like the only reason they were highlighting those two was because they were going to do something sad.
I still don't think it's a highlight just because they have names and we know that they're in love.
The fact that they're the only ones who had those, that
yeah, they really were. I don't really understand why they called it out either, because they didn't call out anybody else being there. Like, I don't know. I thought that was weird.
It's like they barely mentioned 7 of 9, even though she was there on the planet.
We know like everything there is to know.
I know. Just that's the thing. Like, it's like they weren't mentioning anyone unless it was a little bit important for a little, just some reason. But they mentioned them and didn't do anything with them.
What was important about Vorik?
Well, he was the one who got Tuvok to open up about his story. He was like...
Well, everyone had someone that did that.
Well, he was more personal. His was...
He was just like, please, and he was like, okay.
Well, yeah, just... They had a more personal reason to do it. He had a more personal reason to ask. He's just like, he's a younger Vulcan. Is going through the same things Tuvok has, and there was more connection there. Just they mentioned the couple didn't do anything with them, good, bad, or neutral. They didn't really do anything. They were just like, here are these characters. Let's finish the book.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I just expected different.
Well, I don't agree, because there's a lot of other characters that they mentioned and didn't do much with. Like, Chorus was the most.
Oh, yeah.
But there was that couple, there were the people that Neelix was talking to, stuff like that.
I feel like they wrapped them up okay, though, because they took Chorus and those people and sort of put them together.
Yeah, they kind of brought their storylines together.
What did they do? I must have forgot.
When Chorus went off to distract the guards, right?
The guy. So like at the end, when Chorus like sacrifices herself, basically that guy that was helping Neelix is the one that picks her up and carries her off and like says, "We're gonna heal you. Like you're gonna be okay."
Oh.
So they had conclusions. Something happened. Like, and I don't know. I just didn't feel like they. And again, you don't have to conclude every character's arc. You don't have to have something happen to everyone in a book. I just felt like they called more attention to them than anyone else as far as the supporting Voyager cast.
Well, and
I felt like something was going to happen.
You also have to remember, though, that Star Trek does that. They call attention to diversity. That's their thing. They call attention to differences. So it may have just been a device to say, hey, there's all kinds of people here.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That actually, and that's the thing. That's I wasn't thinking about it as, oh, they're just recognizing diversity. I was looking at it as, oh, they're recognizing a secondary character, so something bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they were gay that didn't even play into my thinking on this.
They would have had to have done something to make me care about them for me to think that.
Yeah, plot-wise, I think so too. I think so too. That kind of like leads into the last question. I know that we all kind of like had our feelings about the plot and the ending, that it was like loose and dumb and whatever. I don't know. Did y'all like the ending? I thought it was like magic. They're back on Voyager.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We're gonna jump in this waterfall back on Voyager.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. I mean, it was.
I felt relieved. I was like, yes, it's fucking over. But at the same time, I was like, all those people that are still in that camp.
Yeah.
I was like, and they're just flying through space and they don't care.
It also just made me mad because it reminded me that Chakotay and Janeway never did hook up.
Yeah, that too. Especially like the last paragraph. I was like, come on.
I know.
I don't know.
That one episode when they were on that planet together.
Seriously.
Oh, that's as close as it got.
She kept paying attention to that goddamn monkey.
Yeah. She's like,
seriously.
Monkey, over here.
He was DTF, man.
I feel like one more week, things would have happened. Things would have happened.
DTF.
DTF.
Okay, so that leads into like the last question or comment.
Tell us about what you think about Chorus.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I put that as the last question and the last topic because I felt like it was really important, and I wondered if anybody else picked up on this. So I want to read you a quote about her in the last chapter, I think. It says, she finally felt that she knew why one was born into low estate, into pain and squalor. It was so that one could transcend those circumstances, could toughen and hone oneself against adversity, and in doing so, become noble and selfless. So my theory is that we are supposed to identify with Chorus. We are supposed to want to be that character that's like with the Voyager crew, and that she kind of represents us and kind of proves the idea that we could be like the Voyager crew and overcome adversity no matter what our circumstances are, and sacrifice ourselves and live a noble life. And I don't know, I took a lot of heart in her character and what she did for them. Because, I mean, if you read that ending, they probably would have gotten caught if she hadn't. Like, for sure.
Yeah.
Somebody would have gotten caught. Somebody would have gotten left behind. Hopefully, it would have been Harry Kim.
Oh!
He was already dead.
Who
Wait,
would play the
come on.
clarinet? Who?
Broken foot. Anyway, I just kind of like, I had a lot of feelings about Chorus. Jason, on the other hand, said he didn't get attached to her because he knew she wouldn't end up with Voyager because of the time frame and having seen the show later.
I think I identify with what Jason said.
Yeah. I on the other hand, got attached to her.
Oh.
And I was like, you noble creature.
Oh.
I fall somewhere in the middle of that. I'm somewhere in the middle of those two. I didn't see her as an everyman, someone to identify with. I did think she was sort of displaying a different kind of it's like a different kind of bravery.
Yeah.
It's like you were saying, you got all these tales of having to either challenge what's expected of you, and all the stories involve some kind of bravery, but so did hers. It's about moving past what's expected of you, doing more than you're supposed to. So I thought her story was similar to the others, but I didn't get an everyman feel from her. I thought maybe they were going to get her out, and just there was going to be a line at the end, and we're like, oh yeah, we on so and so's planet.
Yeah, I thought that could happen.
So I didn't know. I didn't know she was going to be. I didn't think she was going to be left behind. Actually, I thought they were going to get her out, but
I really truly thought there was going to be like all-out rebellion. Like everybody was going to have a chance to get out.
Yeah.
I was kind of bummed. I was like, man, really? Like, all those people are back there, and they're probably going to get punished for what they did, and I don't know. That kind of sucked. But
yeah, it did.
Anyway, that pretty much wraps up what we had to talk about. We started with the last book, rating the books, so I think we should rate it 1 to 10, if y'all want to.
I'm going to let Austin go first.
Oh, I go first?
Yeah.
We can let Jason go first.
Sure, yeah.
He said 8 out of 10 points, would likely be more of a 6 or 7 if it wasn't Star Trek related. But not a bad book at all. And there are plenty of others, but there are plenty of others he would rather read. So plenty of other Star Trek books he would rather read.
Oh.
He likes episodic books though. Like this one was definitely really content rich and I don't know, backstory rich. And
yeah.
he likes things that progress and move pretty quickly. But I gave it an 8.5. I liked it.
As I'm kind of in the same boat as Jason. As a supplemental, I give it an 8 out of 10. As a standalone, doesn't make sense as a standalone because so much of your enjoyment of the book has to come from the show. So
yeah,
supplemental, I give it an 8. If it was a standalone, like if this is a book on its own, I'd have trouble giving it a 5 because it's supposed to be a supplemental book. So hard to rate it that way. But
that's a good point.
If as a side note, if Jason's interested in episodic, like standalone Star Trek books, one he might want to read if he's a DS9 fan is the 34th Rule.
Yeah, he's a big DS9 fan.
If he hasn't read the 34th Rule, you should tell him to read it.
Okay.
It's a Ferengi one, right?
Yeah, it's a Quark-centric book.
Oh, he loves Ferengi.
Holy hell, it is so good.
Yeah.
Like, and it gets dark. Like,
I haven't gotten to read it yet because I'm going through DS9 right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
They go to some dark places, and yeah, it's really good though. The 34th Rule. I would have to look up when in the timeline it falls, but it's about halfway through. I think it's before the Dominion, but it's very good. If you're a DS9 fan at all, that's very good.
Noted. Awesome. What were you gonna rate it, Brittany?
I'm gonna give it a 9.9 because if I give it a 10, I'll turn into a lizard.
Okay.
I hope everyone got that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
that's
give it a
so
10 anyway because I didn't really like the connection thing between the stories that, but it was freaking awesome and it made me super happy. And yet again, I will read that over and over again, and I don't reread or rewatch hardly anything.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely the same way. What's happening?
It's open capture.
Oh. Oh! I'm trying to use hats. Jason's so much better at this.
Oh, I think you have to click draw or something. What do you?
You guys, this is the longest hangout. Someone put on a hat. There it is. This is the longest hangout we've ever had.
Woo!
There's my
Because we
hat.
didn't have Jason like interrupting with.
Well, yeah, there's that. Also, we had cat drama, so that took a little while.
That's true.
All right, so pass the crown so we can end this. Do it.
Go.
Do it.
Go take it.
Got it.
Yes, I like it. All right, everyone, go read Voyager. We'll be back in like 2 or 3 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yay!
For the first installment of Zombie Ohio.
Oh snap!
Everyone get it and read it. Bye. Meow.